Hi everybody, welcome to my movie channel here today. I'm actually here today to get into ranking all 36 MCU movies from Phase 1 to Phase 5. And I know there's a lot of movies still, and honestly, in my opinion, there'd be a lot of good ones to talk about, some worst ones in this list. But even though this would be a fun one to talk about, so be sure to stop by at Bud's Video Reviews and check this list out. I know my list isn't the same as everybody else's, so I'd like to know in the comments how would you rank all the movies from Phase 1 to Phase 5. So let's get started. As we all know, at number 36, it is The Eternals. Because of the movie itself wasn't the best of all, it was tied between that one or The Marvels. Because of The Eternals came out really late. I thought it would come out years ago before the first MCU movie was introduced with Captain America, the first Avenger. But the Eternals wasn't the best because for me, like, I was going to see all these other newer heroes that came out in Phase 4. Like, it would be way more better if they had showed off in Phase 1 before Captain America came out or Iron Man. But even though the movie was okay, like, it wasn't my favorite one. Get into the other worst one that I didn't like as much. It is The Marvels. That is number 35. Like, with that movie, it wasn't the best one because that should be number 36 because with The Marvels was like more the way of three female lead heroes. Miss Marvel. She had her own show. Captain Marvel. And we have Captain Rambeau. After the events of WandaVision, she came back to join the team to take down the main villain, another female lead villain. So I was like, what the heck is going on here? It's more like a chick flick superhero movie. It's like, really, what am I watching this movie? Anyways, when I first saw that in theaters, I feel the same way, so I gave it like a 6 out of 10 for me when I saw the movie in theaters. Then, so in 34, it is Thor: The Dark World itself. Like, well, this is really low for me because the whole thread of Malekith, the main villain. The cool thing I like about it, they introduced another Infinity Stone. Um, what's that? So it's a reality stone, the Ether, and see like how this will continue on with Thanos' story in Phase 2 and Phase 3. Like, in my defense, like, this whole film was cool to see Loki came back after what happened in the first Avenger movie, working together with Thor, betrayed him, and things changed really quickly. Like, that's how this whole movie was, like, went downhill. That's why this movie was fun at some points, but it had some issues throughout the way in the movie. Other issues, like, really. For number 33, I just say this earlier, it is Captain Marvel. Like, I know this movie came out really late, and because for me, I watched the movies by the chronology order, but this movie came out in Phase 3, before Infinity War, before Endgame. Like, see like how they did the post-credit scene at the end of Captain Marvel, seeing like how she came back looking for Nick Fury, but somehow, for me, I put it in Phase 1. Out of first Captain America movie, then Captain Marvel, then Iron Man. Like, Captain Marvel is not bad. I love Brie Larson. She's a great actor. And for number 32, it is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I know for a fact about this movie has some issues. Like, I like the villain, Namor. Like, like it takes place from Atlantis City, underwater, not far from Wakanda. And seeing like how he was involved, Black Panther was involved. They did a good send off with T'Challa in this film in the beginning of the movie to see how his sister, Shuri, picked up the mantle to become Black Panther herself. Like, it was cool to see her in action, but why was she involved? Because I thought it'd be another normal hero becoming Black Panther. Like, coming for me because she's been around for a long time since the first Black Panther debuted, and she was involved, and it was a decent film. Like, don't get me wrong, I like her as Shuri, but now she became Black Panther in this movie. For number 31, it is Iron Man 3 because for me, like, there's a lot of issues with this movie. Like, I just can't get enough of this movie because there's two villains involved. One of them was a decoy for the main villain as Arthur Skillish. Like, that's the main threat with Iron Man. In this movie, Tony Stark wants to give up being Iron Man and now becoming a normal person to have his normal life with Pepper Potts, his love interest. And in the comics, they were dating, they got married, and somehow they had a kid. And somehow this movie was like, okay, like, wise. The pickup for number 30, it is Captain America Brave New World. Like, in my opinion, with this movie, like, this should be below 30 because, in my opinion, that with the Red Hulk involved, Harrison Ford, that's one thing I put this up because I love Harrison Ford. He's been around for a long time. Indiana Jones, and we have Star Wars. Him in this movie as Thunderbolt Ross was really cool to see him in action. And the other thing I wasn't too surprised was the leader. Like, it took over since Phase 1 to all the way up to Phase 5. Like, where was he all this time? And somehow he became the leader, the main villain. Like, I wasn't too surprised of him that he came back. Like, I love the comic book accuracy of the leader because he has a tall head, really smart, and green like the Hulk. But this was like a whole like issues with this film. That's why this is like at this part of the list. Don't get me wrong, there's moments in this movie that I did like. I like the battle of Captain America facing the Red Hulk. For number 29, it is Black Widow because, in my thoughts, this movie came out way late in the picture. Came out in Phase 4. But for me, I put this movie right after the events of Civil War and see like how she's on the run, to what she did. Somehow, William Hurt was in this movie like a CGI version of him because he passed away years ago. And seeing like how this whole movie played out with David Harper, I honestly love the guy. As Red Guardian. I am the Red Guardian. But somehow, it was good to see the Red Room, how Natasha Romanoff was introduced as Black Widow. For number 28, it is Thor, Love, and Thunder. And in my opinion with this one, I love Christian Bale. Because in my opinion, he was great at playing as Batman. He came back as a villain, as Gorr the God Butcher. And destroyed all the gods and the whole different realms. There's a lot of different realms. Like we went to Hercules, his dad's place, Zeus taking the lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. But somehow it was cool how they did it with the movie because since what happened with Loki after the events of season 1 and 2 and the other movies involved, Thor kept his honor to put Loki as a tattoo on his back. It was so cool to see involvement with everything else. For number 27, it is Spider-Man Far From Home. Like, in my defense of this movie, because I want this to be above 27, but somehow with this movie, it has some problems the other way. Like, I like the villain, Mysterio. Like, honestly, it was a great choice to see him in this movie as Jake Gyllenhaal. Why did I say Jack? Jake Gyllenhaal. Great choice of as Mysterio. Good to manipulate Peter to give up the Edith classes to give it to him so he can take over all the drones. And somehow continue this on in No Way Home. And somehow this movie was really fun. For number 26, it is Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And I know this is really below, but somehow with this movie, because King of the Congo was kind of a fill-in for Ant-Man and Wasp and Hank and Janet, because they all went into the quantum realm. And some of this saw King the Conqueror, got involvement with this whole story to see Darren Cross. Like, that's one thing I wasn't too surprised to see in him, because as MODOK, like, if they come back another MODOK, make it well put with a great new actor. Darren Cross was like really a funny business as MODOK, because honestly, oh my god, so much issues with this movie, but still, it was a fun movie. But number 25, it is Iron Man 2. And for me, because I like how they replaced Terrence Howard to Don Cheadle as Iron Man, as War Machine, his best friend. This takes us out of the events of his Avengers movie, leads up to this whole threat of Thanos coming soon, and Infinity War and Endgame. Like, this whole thing was like really, really changed the course of action. And Whiplash was actually in this movie, but even though that, it was cool. But number 24, it is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like, in my opinion of this whole film, like, it was so cool to see how they did with the whole movie, with how Wanda, under the event of WandaVision, and seeing like how they did it. And in my opinion, with Wanda, after the events of WandaVision, she's been looking for her kids. Tommy and Billy and Doctor Strange got involved to help her because she got a hold of the Darkhold book because of Agatha gave it to her somehow, or she took it from her and make it how more pure evil because Wanda was a threat to Doctor Strange, and seeing like how this whole movie will play out in the final battle in this film. And even though we saw a lot of different realms in this movie, and American Chavez was actually a part of this whole story itself. For number 23, it is The Incredible Hulk. And also that because of this movie, it's a bit higher for me because I like how they did with the story, the whole intake of it all, like seeing how William Hurt was in this one, and the actor that played Apollo Nation was cool to see the final battle in Harlem in New York, and somehow it seems like it's really good, fun story. This is where the leader actually became caught up his powers. And years has gone by in Brave New World. Number 22, it is Black Panther, the first movie. Like, honestly, my thoughts of this whole film was really fun to see Chadwick Boseman playing as T'Challa. This actually takes place after the events of Civil War, and this is how he got his own movie. And seeing like how the whole story was involved with because of what happened to T'Challa, the dad in Civil War, and that's how he became Black Panther, T'Challa. And then we have a new thread involved wanted to become Black Panther, Eric Killmonger, and this whole film was really cool to see how they all played out in the final act of the movie. Number 21, it is Avengers Age of Ultron. Like, it was cool to see Ultron as the voice. I like the voice how they did with him. Somehow, Ultron wants to take out humanity. And so he went to Sokovia to take out everyone because turn everyone into extinction to see how the mighty heroes came and stopped Ultron, the whole threat because Tony and Bruce created him because of the AI of Jarvis and Edith, and somehow Ultron took over on Jarvis, and somehow we have a few new recruits. We have Quicksilver, we have Scarlet Witch came in, and we have Vision. And somehow the love interest between Wanda and Vision later on in the movie and in the series of WandaVision. And then for number 20, that kicks off was the first Thor movie because honestly, I love how they did with the movie. To learn, to study about the different realms of Asgard and the gods. Thor, Loki, the god of mischief, and then we have Odin, Heimdall, all the gods up in Asgard. It's in how Odin noticed that Thor wasn't worthy enough to hold the hammer of Mjolnir. So somehow he has to learn his own mistakes. He learned to become mortal on Earth, to learn about Jade and the whole other people that he met. Throughout the whole way of the film, we got to know the whole story of Hawkman with Thor and Loki. But other issues, like, what are we talking about here? But somehow, I love how they did it in the movie. To kick off for number 19, it is Spider-Man Homecoming. That Fulcher, Michael Keaton, was the best thing I love about the movie. There's some really moments that I got some goosebumps when Peter was talking to Fulcher in the call scene. And it was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Like, this whole film was super intense, but a great feeling as a Fulcher. And for number 18, it is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And the whole movie was so cool to see how his both dad, Kurt Russell, playing as Ego the Living Planet, has been around in the comics and shows, everything else. Seeing Kurt Russell playing as Ego the Living Planet was super cool to see him. But overall, like, the whole story was cool to learn about Peter's both parents with Meredith and Ego the Living Planet. Like, somehow the whole story was cool to see Yondu, the whole team again. Like, it's really like an entertaining movie as well because it's another fun movie to watch. There's some moments I did laugh because of Drax, and that's why we were introduced to Mantis. And Momoa came back with her sister Nebula, like sister issues again. Somehow, like, it brings out the whole pack of the team to have more heroes. But even though the final part of the film really made me a little bit sad because Yondu moved on, sacrificing his life to Peter could live long time in the other films. That's a sad moment that I was really sad about seeing Yondu like passed on. But overall, I love the film. Then on number 17, it is Ant-Man and the Wasp, the second trilogy in the whole movie series. And Ant-Man and the Wasp was a movie to see how Janet Van Dyne was somehow connecting with Scott Lang, because Scott Lang was actually got linked into the quantum realm, and somehow Janet Van Dyne connected to him, give it to Hank, so they all know that she's still alive in the quantum realm, and so they had to figure out a way to like save her. And the thread goes to takes place in between of Infinity War, and somehow with a snap, and because this whole film was really funny at some points. Michael Pena, I like the guy, good actor. He came back. The number 16, we have Captain America, the first Avenger movie, the first to introduce Hydra and Captain America. Like, I love how they did with the story to introduce Steve Rogers and his best friend Bucky Barnes. They always have each other's back. When Steve Rogers wanted to join the army to do something right, to do good for his country, he joined the army, and somehow he got us the super serum, social serum. I said that twice, but somehow he got his strength. He built up to become Chris Evans, become the Captain America we love now. And even though I love how he took on the Red Skull in the final part of the film, like this, how Hydra was got involvement in the whole MCU. That's what it all started. That's what I like about the film. For number 15, it is the first Ant-Man movie. Like, in my defense of the first Ant-Man movie, is higher than the other twos. Like, story-wise. Paul Rudd, like, it was really funny in this movie. Like, I was thinking that, why is it super high for me? Because the whole story was great. The actors was amazing. Hank Pym trying to recruit him to become Ant-Man himself. Like, honestly, it was such a good movie. Like, I love the highest build up to the final part and Pym Technologies. Taking down Darren Cross, as we all know, that became Yellow Jacket and became MODOK in the Quantum Realm movie. And it's really a good story. Like, honestly, I love how they did with the movie. To number 14, it is the first Iron Man movie. Like, in my thoughts, the first Iron Man movie is where it all started. Like, I love how they did the whole story. I see like how they whole did introducing Tony Stark, and he got lost in the desert. It became started to build his own machine as Iron Man, and the main threat was his old partner from Stark Industry became the threat. And I love how they did with the film. The actor Jeff Bridges was amazing playing as the threat of the movie, the final part of the film. Like, I love how they did it in the movie. It's such a good movie. So number 13, it is Doctor Strange, the first movie. Like, I love how they got involved with the mystic arts, into the Dark Dimension. Like, see like how they did it, the whole film was cool. Like, the only cool thing I love about it, because Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, played as Doctor Strange, also for his Dormammu. I was like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and kills him. He did it again, over and over. Like, this whole movie was so outstanding. Great performance too, by the way. Like, thank you, Marvel, for being in Doctor Strange. For number 12 is the first Avengers movie. Like, the whole team of it all started in Phase 1 day. Close off Phase 1 with Loki as a threat, since what happened at the end of the first Thor movie. Loki wants to do best for his dad. Like, I know has Loki's been through since the Loki series and Disney Plus season 1 and 2. Like, Loki wants his dad's approval, and his mom, and his brother Thor. Like, Loki wants to do something right for once, like destroy the bridge, to like make them to go back on Earth. Like, Loki has been through a lot in his movies during his prime. The end of season 2 of Loki, Chloe's purposes, like seeing like how he became the god of to hold the timeline intact for 616. That's why I love how they did it in the movie. And because with the Avengers, they took him down, and somehow they took him back to Asgard to see how they're going to do in Thor: The Dark World and the rest of the Thor films. Like that's what I love about the movie. But number 11, it is Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings. Like, in my thoughts of this movie, like, it was cool to see a new hero that came in phase 4, Shang-Chi. Honest, in my opinion, like, I love the newer heroes, new recruits that join the Avengers later on in the future. Like, for Doomsday coming, Secret Wars is coming. Like, to see how they did it, the movie, I love it. The Ten Rings was, like, great to see the whole organization was involved. I love how they did an organization, what they did with Hydra, then the Ten Rings. What's next? For example, to kick off at number 10 in this Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, like, in my opinion, like, I love how they introduce all the heroes. Peter Quill, Gamora, Rocket the Raccoon, and Groot. They introduced them all together in nowhere, and they met Drax the Destroyer in the prison area in space. Like, it was cool to see Drax, because he's a dumb one. He's so funny. That's what I like about Drax the Destroyer. He can act so stupid sometimes. And even though I love the actor Dave Bautista, it's such a great choice to play as him. For example, like 9, it is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Like, I love how they did with this movie, because to seeing like how they did with the first Adventure movie, and somehow ties into this whole film with Bucky Barnes was lost during the time period when Captain America, went to the modern days now. Bucky Barnes became the Winter Soldier. God, Hydra took control of him to take down the threat of Captain America, because they were best friends, and now they fought each other and they worked together in the other films, and that's why this is really high on the list for me. For number 8, it is Thor Ragnarok, and somehow with this whole film, like, I love how they did with the movie with Valkyrie's story, Thor's story, and Loki, the villain Hela, the sister of Loki, because Loki is kind of related to Hela, Thor, like brothers and sisters. So then in this movie, like only one cool thing I love about it was when Thor took on the Hulk, Gladiator Hulk, in the Gladiator in Chicago. Like seeing like how Grandmaster Jeff Goldblum was like amazing to see him in this movie. I love how they did this whole film itself. Fun, entertaining, great story. For number 7, it is Captain America: Civil War. This is what starts off Phase 3. Like, seeing Captain America has his own side of his own heroes, Hawkeye, Wanda, the rest of his team, and Iron Man has his own team. They fought each other in this movie. They split them up to get things ready for Infinity War and Endgame. Like, and that's why I thought of this movie was so outstanding. Great performance, great action sequences. And the only one thing I like about it is the action scene and the airport scene in Germany. Like, the whole thing was great. This is where they introduced Black Panther and Spider-Man. Ant-Man's been around since before this movie, because Ant-Man ended Phase 2. That's why Steve Rogers recruited Scott Lang. And then for number 6, it is Avengers: Infinity War. Yes, this is actually below the 5 spot, because Infinity War has been around for a long time. I see this over like 25 times or maybe higher than Endgame. But Infinity War, I love how they did with the whole movie. Like, I love the story of how Thanos got all the stones, to show half of the population on Earth. Like a snap of his fingers like this. Ow. But somehow, I love how Thanos became who he really was. And somehow this whole movie itself was different teams. Like, we have Earth, basically was Tony and Doctor Strange and the rest of the team. Then we have Steve Rogers went to Wakanda, and so Tony and Doctor Strange went to space to the planet Titan to take on Thanos himself. And it's so a great story. Like, I fell in love with this whole story. How they all got all the heroes together to stop, like, Thanos. Somehow, I just enjoyed it all the time. It's such a fun movie. To kick off with number 5, this is tough, because the top 5s, it's difficult to put these films. Number 5, Spider-Man: No Way Home. In my opinion, I love how they got all the Spider-Man involved with Tobey Maguire Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland. And seeing like how they did this whole film was like outstanding. All the heroes, all the Spider-Man team up, taking down all the villains together in the Statue of Liberty. More like Captain Liberty. Like it was so cool to see every single villain from the previous Spider-Man films into this whole film itself. Green Goblin, outstanding. William Dafoe was awesome. That's what's number 5. I want that to be number 1 for me, but there's more movies to come. So number 4 pick, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And somehow this made it to the top 2 of this list for me because I love the story of Rocket Raccoon's story arc with High Evolution. And somehow with this movie, a lot to get through because Peter Quill, at the end of this whole film, he went to be with his granddad and somehow wants to settle down. Somehow he'll be back in Doomsday, try to take down Doctor Doom later on next year. So the whole film was great, more of a story of Rocket Raccoon's backstory to see how High Evolution studies Rocket, learns about him. I thought for one thing when I saw this movie, I thought Rocket was about to die, but somehow he stood longer, lived, and take over Peter Quill's part of the film, like at the end. Adam Warlock was amazing. Will Pullman played him. Like the whole movie itself was so great, taking on High Evolutionary. I love how they did it the whole film. But number 3 is Thunderbolts. It's Thunderbolts. I love this movie. It was one of the outstanding great movie of the year so far for me. Like seeing like how they did with the story with Thunderbolts for Elena, where Guardian, Ghost, Taskmaster. There's a lot of great things involved, but we have a Sentry named Bob, and somehow the thread was Void. The evil version of Sentry became Void, and somehow took everyone else into his own dimension to take Void out. Like I love how they did it in the movie. Really outstanding, but such a great film as well. And this too, right here, it's tough to choose between the second place, the first place. It was tied between Endgame and Deadpool and Wolverine. I love these 2 movies. It sucks to say this. Number 2 is actually Avengers Endgame. Like, I love the movie so much, and I watched over 30 times of Endgame. That should be number 1. But somehow this is number 2 for me because I love the intake of the story. I love how the whole team came together, went back in time, get all the stunts, save everyone from what happened in Infinity War to bring them all back. But a big major threat happened. Thanos came back from Guardians Volume 1 and take down the whole team. And some of his whole army came and destroyed them, but some of the heroes destroyed him. But for number one on this list was Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, oh my god, like somehow with this movie was outstanding. Great performance with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Deadpool, well done. I'm actually his favorite superhero overall. But don't get me wrong, I love Wolverine. Like the X-Men. We saw Johnny freaking Storm in this movie. Chris Evans. We have Gambit. All those other heroes. Blade. Wesley Snipes. That was cool. But somehow with this whole movie was outstanding. Great performance. Cassandra Nova played as a threat. And somehow Deadpool broke the third wall. Because somehow Deadpool is such a great actor. I love Ryan Reynolds as him. That's why this movie was number 1 for me. And somehow, thank you all for coming into my whole ranking of all 36 MCU movies from Phase 1 to Phase 5. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Stay tuned for more videos related to Marvel. Thank you all coming in. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you want to follow me here on YouTube, feel free to subscribe to my channel down below. If you want to be notified by my videos, hit that notification bell icon as well right down over here. Bye, everybody.